I'm going to say something controversial here. I believe as Chef Smith goes, so goes the nation. Wow, is that an overstatement? So let me explain. Now, Shep is a guy on Fox News who usually just goes along, okay? And, you know, they do their nonsense, and he tries not to get involved too much, but he has the right-wing, guests on, and he does the news with a slight right-wing twist, which I'm sure he would deny, etc. But when there comes a point where Shep draws the line and says, I can't take this anymore. And that has happened about 2 or 3 times. But when it does, it's kind of winds up being a telling moment. Not that it's that Shep is doing it, but it gives you a sense of even some Republicans or conservatives saying, no, this just isn't right. And it happened during Hurricane Katrina when Shep blew up over things. And now it's happened over torture. So now we want to share those videos and show you exactly what we mean. We're going to start nice and easy, and then we're going to build up to the real deal. First, he has guests on that he's going to talk to. And one of them is the famous Judith Miller, formerly of the New York Times. And another is a conservative commentator who, of course, is going to go ahead and argue that torture is not so bad and these guys are terrorists, etc., etc. But listen to what Shep says here in the midst of all this. Let's watch.
Judith, the argument here is that from the other side is that they got lawyers to come in and give a definition of what they think it is, just like I can get my lawyer to give me any definition I want, because I pay him $400 an hour, so he does it.
Exactly. The issue here is we don't know enough to know as yet who ordered what, at what point, under what circumstances. We're not making a decision right now about whether or not anybody should be prosecuted. What we're saying is we need to know what happened and how these horrendous techniques, which are illegal under American law, never mind the International Convention Against Torture, never mind our basic human standards, never mind that John McCain introduced legislation outlawing these very techniques.
John McCain, who was tortured himself.
Exactly. So what we need right now, wait a minute, Cliff. Cliff, I have to disagree with you. What we need right now is more information about who, how, when, what this system came about, who's responsible for it, whether or not there were extenuating circumstances. We need to let the government do its job, and we need information.
We don't torture. And the moment that is not the case, I want off the train. This government is of, by, and for the people. Look, that means it's mine. That means they I'm not saying what is torture and what is not torture, but I'm saying whatever it is, you don't do it for me. I want off the train when the government starts. I want off. Next stop now.
Shep, I'm not in favor of torture, but all rough techniques are not torture. The American standard, Judy, give me a chance. Judy, my dear, give me a chance.
You've said this before. We heard you, and you're saying that these things that we've already done aren't torture.
I'm not saying.
And I'm not saying whether they are or not.
What I'm about to say is that the American standard is that which shocks the conscience. Now, you tell me which would shock your conscience more, pushing a guy and giving him a scare in order to get him to tell about a terrorist plot, or letting him go back to his cell and having a terrorist plot kill hundreds or maybe thousands of Americans. My conscience would be shocked by not using coercive methods short of torture in order to get the information we need to save American lives.
John McCain says it doesn't
That's
work.
my conscience.
That's right. John McCain says this is not about
look, you never used torture.
This is about us, who we are.
Shep beginning to take a little bit of a stand there. Now, he says, I don't know if it was torture or not, but if it is torture, I want off the train. Now, again, I'm going to get a little carried away here, but it's like when Nixon said, if I've lost Cronkite, I've lost the nation. Now, I say that about Shep, not because Shep is anywhere near Walter Cronkite, but just to show you, if you've lost that much of a percentage of the population that you're now eating into the right wing, and one of the standard-bearer anchors of Fox News says, I want off this train, you've really lost the nation. Now, Shep's going to take it to another level in the next couple of clips. First, he reads an email sent in at the end of this segment by one of his listeners calling him pompous, and he has an interesting reaction to that as well.
Your real address. Shep, you are such a pompous ass. That's the I'm a pompous. I'm that because I'm an American and I don't want my government torturing on my behalf. I'm not defining it, but I'm telling you they better not do it. This is of, by, and for us. And if we're going to be Ronald Reagan's shiny city on a hill, we don't get to torture. We don't do it.
All right, I like that. It's strong. Now, the only problem is, of course, we already did do it. And while we were doing it, Shep and Fox didn't say much. Okay, but now that he's found out, And it takes Shep a while, and he's like, wow, look, this stuff sounds like it's really bad. Now, if you thought that was bad on air, now wait till you get a load of what happened on their website. He's going to continue to talk to a couple of commentators that they have on Fox, and earmuff the kids. Here comes Shep Smith with real anger.
Lawyers who would basically tell the Bush administration everything they want. You know I read this.
I've got a lawyer. I can tell my lawyer, go do this for me.
And he'll
just do it. It will be done. Same thing.
So the CIA manipulates the Justice Department into letting it do whatever it wants. And I read these memoranda. These memoranda.
That's a matter of opinion, Judge. I mean, a lot of that's opinion, right? We've got Bob Baer saying one thing. We've got a lot of people saying another thing. We've had the former CIA director came out and said this stuff helped.
This
stuff did help.
We are America.
I agree.
I don't give a rat's ass if it helps.
I agree.
We are America. We do not torture. We don't do it.
But here's the point. And the point is this: is that you've got two schools of thought, and you cannot just say, okay, this school of thought is accurate, and Bob Baer, who's trying to sell books and does a very good job of that, you still have to say, I'm not saying that torture is right or wrong.
It's
I'm not
wrong.
going there. I'm saying that there are two schools of thought on whether this thing was effective or not.
Doesn't matter. We don't do it.
All right, Shep, go get him, man. I like that. Show me a little passion. And yeah, he dropped the F-bomb there. And then later he said, in a kind of funny little aside, oops. And he pounded the table. And you know what? I'm glad he did. It needed to be somebody in their own house. And when we do it, they're like, oh, yeah, liberals. God, they're so soft. They don't even want to torture people. Don't they know that the red, white, and blue American flag, apple pie, and torture, that's what we stand for? So when one of them in the room goes, no, we don't. That's terrible. We're not supposed to stand for torture. And you notice their reaction. They're like, oh, yeah, oh, wow, this guy's, wow, you know? And so I think if former Bush administration officials and the right wing and the conservatives have lost Shep Smith on this issue, I don't want to overstate it, but I think they're in a little bit of trouble.